Hello, everybody. And today I have Laurie and Ellen from Scout joining us to talk about their incredible investigations agency and also a very special fundraiser that they are working towards that they will talk to at the end of this. Laurie and Ellen, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Casey.
That's okay. So I thought I'd just ask a couple of questions first. Well, I have a million questions, but we only have a limited amount of time. But what are your backgrounds in investigation?
Yeah, sure. So I'll go first, then I'll pass over to Ellen. So I have a Bachelor's of Arts in international relations, and then I went on to do a master's in security intelligence and counterterrorism. After that, I was always inspired by James Bond. So I wanted to go into some kind of investigations industry or space or job. So I started off at Pinkerton Investigations down with Andy Chambers in Melbourne. And then after spending a bit of time there, then moved into physical security and risk management type work. So stepped away from the investigation space for a while, spent some time in Hong Kong, Salt Lake City in the US, and then also in Seattle in the US before returning home. And in those positions, I did a little bit more of anti-money laundering compliance and also economic sanctions compliance, which I think ties in well with investigations, but not quite the private investigation space. And then came back to Australia to start Scout with my sister Ellen. But I'll pass on to Ellen for her background.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thanks, Laurie. So, Casey, my background actually starts a little bit similar to Laurie's. I have a Bachelor of Arts and then a Master's in International Relations, and also started with Pinkerton down in Melbourne with Andy Chambers and the team. Laurie kind of left and passed the baton over to me, so I worked there for several years. And then I, similar to Laurie, moved away from the investigation space and actually went into the climate change space for a little bit with government, and then in the private sector, helping with, risk assessments for natural disasters and things like that. And then it was only a couple years ago that Laurie and I came back together to start our own investigations company. I guess it was something we were both interested in and looking to pivot a little. So that was probably, I don't know, two maybe years ago now. Time flies. But yeah, so that's kind of how we got to where we are today.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love how, because a lot of people talk to us about, I started here and then I went there. And with being an investigator, the more you get to try different things, it just helps you as an investigator. Do you both find that as well? Like even though it's all kind of been in the same field-ish, but it helps with your investigation skills, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah. I think there's two elements for me that I think cross over. One is just understanding people and meeting lots of different diverse people. So I think that's one of the greatest benefits of us being able to travel and then to bring those skills home. I think they're really transferable into the investigation space. And then the other one I think is risk management. So that's one of those areas that I learned in different jobs in different places. But I think that skill set of risk management and bringing that back to investigations is also pretty valuable. So yeah, you don't have to be always in investigations from start to finish to be able to do this kind of work. And I think diversity is what really helps be a good investigator.
Yeah. I thoroughly agree. Like just that breadth of experience, I find brings us the best investigators when we see students come through and they've done all these different things, and it's just they're energetic, they're educated, and we're just seeing more and more of people with those skills, with that large amount of skills come into the industry, and I think it's making it better, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think different experiences make you inquisitive, right? If you've done the same thing forever, maybe you don't have that kind of irk to, ask and pick apart things. So I think like Laurie and I, having done so much different stuff, we're constantly curious and asking questions because we want to learn more about everyone and everything. So I do think that helps us in investigations as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what made you decide to start up Scout?
Yeah, we wanted more flexibility in our lives. I think that's what it came down to. So for me, I had my daughter. That was the first child in my family. So I definitely wanted a little more flexibility. I just moved home from the US as well, and it was just after COVID. So I spoke to Ellen, and I think she at the time was also looking for a little more flexibility. And then we also wanted to do stuff which was interesting and different on a day-to-day basis. And we found that we just weren't kind of getting that excitement and that, I guess, curiosity in our day-to-day. So yeah, we kind of came together and and started it all. I didn't think we had too much of like this enormous vision, but it was just something that we thought, look, let's start small and let's do things that we love doing with people that are smart and want to work with us. And then now it's just evolved into something I don't think we ever even thought, but it's fantastic. So yeah, I don't know, Ellen, if you've got like a different perspective on that.
No, very similar. Yeah, similar sentiments.
Yeah.
And
what kind of investigations do you do at Scout?
Yeah, so we do a range of them. So we've got a couple of different pillars. We have private investigations, which is kind of anybody could come to us and say that they would like something investigated, whether it's a business or an individual. Then we also do insurance investigations, and these usually come down kind of like a business route. And then we also do workplace investigations. And these are a little bit more kind of detailed and complex as opposed to the insurance investigations. But this is where, something's happened in the workplace and we're really getting straight in there to investigate the grievance or the complaint. So we also do that. So that's on our investigation side. And then we also have our compliance side, where we're doing anti-money laundering compliance and then also investigation. So if we've got clients who potentially have brought on a new client or want to work with a certain company, they'll come to us to ask us to do kind of a bit of a background check or due diligence and investigation there in that space as well.
Yeah, that is so good. Yeah, that's really exciting work. It's amazing that you guys get to, it's your show, you get to run it. Like there is so much freedom in that. And that's what being a private investigator offers, obviously. And obviously hard work as well. So
that's it, yes. And a lot of learning too. So
yes. And people love juicy details and stories from PIs. Is there a case that you can share that's kind of cool without too many details, or?
Oh, I don't know. We really pride ourselves on our confidentiality, so I think we have our chuckle at the time, but we just kind of move on. Unless, Ellen, you can think of anything.
Oh, I mean, they all warrant their own explanation. Nothing that comes to mind that I could share, without too many details. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, and I think too, as a company, we're relatively new. So I think if we said anything, I think it would be you'd be able to tie it back.
Where it happened years and years and years ago, and you can write a book about it, right? Like
that's exactly right. Yeah, keep an eye out in 20 years, and we'll write a memoir or something.
Okay. And then
I will say in our short time, we have had a few repeat offenders. That's probably all I'll share, is probably done the same person across a few different matters. That's probably all I can share without giving too much away. Yeah.
No, that's really good. And it's exciting when you get to see that, because you can piece together a bit of the puzzle and go, okay, well, there's something really wrong here, and you can really, really work with that. So, yes. And as with the Australian Security Academy, generally, we are trying to inspire the newest generations of investigators coming through, regardless of what path they go down. What is your best advice for new investigators coming through?
Yeah, Ellen, do you want to go first?
Oh, no, let me think.
Okay.
Advice.
Yeah, I would say probably back to the point that we made earlier, just about like being very confident in the experience that you already have. I think the more diverse that your background is, the more that you're going to bring to the role. And I think just being curious and learning. At Scout, like, we're really taking like that being curious, learning environment to be like quite serious. It's okay to make mistakes. Obviously, we don't want to make the same mistakes over and over again, but just being confident to give it a go and to really just enjoy what you do. And if you fall down, totally fine. Just get back up and keep going, and just be open to learning. So that's what I would say to new recruits that are coming through. And I think now there's so many different profiles of investigators. Like, maybe back in the day it was just the man in the cloak with the hat on, or it's the James Bond type or something like that. I think, nowadays it's so different. And I think the best investigators that we've seen are the ones that are from really, really different backgrounds. So yeah, that's probably what I would say to those who are coming out of ASA.
Excellent. Thank you.
And also, like, you can off the back of that, be confident to jump right in. There are so many opportunities. This is a really niche field. So you find that everyone's hiring, right? Everyone's offering training. And so it's not the kind of field where you're like, oh, should I go into this? I don't know if I'm going to get a job. Like, be really confident that, people are going to support you. There's going to be ample opportunities. And also, be curious. Like, we always push people to ask more, like ask the why, the who, the what, the when, the where. It's all about just, kind of pushing for more details as well. So I think it's a great industry to go into. It's not very well known. I didn't know too much about it before I started at Pinkerton. And it is really interesting work once you get into it. And I've been really, enjoying it. And I'm sure a lot of new recruits will start enjoying it as they get stuck into the nitty-gritty detail of investigations.
Yeah, it becomes a bit addictive, doesn't it?
Yes.
I tried to move away from investigations, being in a family of investigators all my life, and I just couldn't resist coming back. Every other job I became a nurse. I was like, this is boring. And here I am. Also, just one more question, because I haven't really been asking this, and I always am wondering, outside of your initial qualification, what are your favorite resources in regards to staying up to date with what's happening in investigations?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm always looking at the news to see kind of the heavy hitting news articles that are about what's in court at the moment, what's kind of hitting the media. That always is great for me, and then that trickles back down. But there's some great kind of textbooks and things like that we also refer to, more so in the workplace investigation space. And then also ASA, there has always got some great stuff coming up on the LinkedIn, which I stay in tune with. And then sometimes some of the different agencies, like government agencies, will also have postings about some of the things that they're processing at the moment. For me specifically, AUSTRAC, I keep up to date with, because they've always got some really interesting stuff coming out about anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing and some of the issues that are coming up in that space. Another one is Financial Crime Hub from Macquarie University as well. It's a financial intelligence hub, which has got some pretty cool stuff too. So that's probably my list. Not quite exhaustive, but yeah.
I was just going to add, this is more Laurie's role, but she also networks a lot. Laurie's more of the networker than me. She attends a lot of conferences, talks to a lot of people. She really markets us. And I feel like she brings back a lot of really good intel that she then shares with me and the rest of the team as well. So I think that is a great use of Laurie's time, kind of traveling around, meeting people, keeping connections.
it makes such a difference, doesn't it? And it's like vastly different to like the olden days, like literally, like you said, the man in the cloak, and investigators never really used to network, and we would have the odd conference, and then no one would really want to speak, or because industry. But now we really have to advocate for ourselves. And Mike always says that we have this incredible and dynamic industry, but we're not very good at plugging ourselves or like marketing ourselves. Like there's still a lot of myths that we have to dispel that I think, people are now working really hard to just shift that. And even still today, when people say to me, what do you do? And I say, oh, I'm a private investigator. They're like, that exists?
Yes.
So,
that's so true. And being able to kind of like neatly package everything that you do and the impact that you can provide to your client is very difficult to put into like a nice, neat package, especially when people are automatically thinking of that cloak kind of figure. With the what's it called, the little eyeglass thing. So I completely agree. But there's so much pretty like amazing information out there that you can plug into for sure. Maybe more so on like the financial crime space and workplace investigation space. I think there's a little less on maybe the private investigation space, but otherwise there are some things out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm just going to bring up your website, which is a lovely website. So if people are interested in learning more about Scout, oh gosh, I didn't include the URL. Is it scout.com.au?
Yes, scoutinvestigations.com.au. It made me think there.
Perfect. Okay, so if you would like to learn more about Scout, we have scoutinvestigations.com.au. I will make sure that I link it in the show notes below for everyone. And also now we can talk about your fundraiser coming up. So what are you guys doing?
Yes. So Laurie and I are raising money to support women and girls affected by conflict, crisis, and natural disasters across the world. So we're together fundraising money that will go directly to UN Women, and then they collaborate with local women's organisations on the ground to offer, critical services and resources to young girls and women. So, for example, that could be supplying like kits, like toiletry kits to women in need or who have been displaced, anywhere from Gaza to Ukraine or even Asia if there was a natural disaster, for example. So we're raising $6,000 for the cause. And then at the end of our fundraising efforts, we are participating in a Trek for Rights with UN Women in the South Island of New Zealand for 5 days. So Laurie and I are joining a group of, I think maybe 15 or so other women who are all from Australia, I believe, and we're walking Christchurch to Queenstown, so 5 days. A lot of the women aren't, big walkers, so I think it's going to be a bit of a hoot. So we're really looking forward to that. That's, as I said, once we've finished our fundraising efforts. So we've already had, several very generous donations to our cause. Laurie and I have also participated in a Bunnings barbecue to raise some fundraising money, which was something quite outside our comfort zones.
Yes.
Not just Bunnings, but also cooking sausages. Both things were new to us. We're doing really well with our fundraising efforts. I think we're well over halfway, but still have a little bit to go. So we'd really encourage anyone to donate if and where they can, because every dollar, that's it right there. Yes, every dollar makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And so I will put the link below if anyone feels inclined to help this incredible cause. We know that women who are affected by war or weather events, like we know that the young women are the first affected, right? And that has the biggest impact on communities moving forward. So a fantastic cause. Thank you so much for raising money and raising awareness on this. So, and being incredible investigators with a very, very cool, I love Scout. It's a great name.
Thanks. We did take some time to really think through the name quite a while ago, but it's definitely stuck. Here we are.
Okay, so the link for again, just the fundraising website will be down below. So again, if you feel inclined, they would be very grateful. And the 5-day trek in New Zealand sounds like a lot. I'm sure you will have an amazing time, and I'm guessing you'll be posting updates on your LinkedIn or something like that. And you are both on LinkedIn, right, where people can connect with you if they're so inclined?
Yes, definitely. We're both on LinkedIn. Scout's on LinkedIn as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out. We're always keen to hear from anybody, or especially potential investigators. If you're keen, we're more than happy to have a chat about the industry, about anything that kind of that you want to ask.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, ladies. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with your fundraising and with your trek. So I'm really looking forward to hearing how it goes. And I'm sure that I will speak to you again in the future about emerging trends and things in the industry. We're really trying to do more of that. And the more, again, we network with people like you and get the word out there and just show how great our industry is, the better. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Casey. And thanks to Mike as well for connecting us together. And we'll talk very soon.
Excellent. Thanks, ladies.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye. See you later.